God is a God of play. In Genesis, as you know, the first few words are in the beginning, God, and the very first verb attributed to what God does is to create. He's creative. Anyone been in the creative room over the weekend? Anyone enjoyed a bit of creativity? And that's because you're made in God's image. You're made to be creative, to do creative things. Jesus's parables do have humor throughout them. He does this thing that's radical in his day, which is he says, welcome the little children. If you want to come to me, you have to come to me as a child. He says, you have to come to me as a child. The opening words this morning from Dorothy Gibbs were, Daddy, get me out the cot. I want to play with my Barbies. We have to come as children. I mean, maybe even that little game this morning, doing a coin thing, and I'm a grown up. Don't do coin games. I'm a bit too grown up for coin games, especially when it's a gold coin. And I see that in myself. Yet, actually, we're called to come as children. In the Psalms, there's descriptions of joy and celebration and God's presence. Dan talked yesterday about David dancing before the Lord with all his might. 2 Samuel 6:14, a beautiful example of uninhibited, joyful play and worship. And even when he did that, people criticized him, which is really interesting. Everyone was a bit grown up. Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't do that here. We're quite serious here. God rejoices. Zephaniah 3:17. He will rejoice over you with singing. He delights over us. There is joy. There is creativity. There's playfulness in the very being of God. And yesterday I was trying to sort of think in my mind, what's the difference between rest and play? How would I think of the difference? And I think of it like this, that rest, the giveaway is that word restoration. So rest restores us. So the ultimate form of rest is sleep. Just want to update you after my sleep update yesterday that I had just such a good night. It was brilliant. We got the temperature right last night, didn't we? The right temperature. It's all about, for me, the weight of the bedding and the temperature. I like a cold room with warm bedding. And rest is so important because it restores us. And the example that David spoke to us about is Sabbath, where we stop. And as we know, the Jewish people, they stop from everything. And you rest. And it provides restoration. But then play is a bit different. Play is actually not so much about restoration, but about refreshment. It's about you do something a bit different. It kind of refreshes you. It's not work. It's not rest. It's play. It's a little bit of, rock and roll dancing. Anyone do rock and roll dancing? Okay, a few of us. Anyone do karaoke? Anyone do? Yeah, brilliant. Did you enjoy it, Kelly? Yeah, you did. Brilliant. So that's play. And what's interesting is rest counterbalances work. So you rest from work and you work from rest, but play is like a complement to work. It actually complements it. It energizes us. It inspires us. It fuels creativity. Rest reminds us that we're not defined by our productivity. Play reflects the joy and creativity of being made in God's image. So you got that difference between rest and play? Rest is restoration. Play is about refreshment. One of the things I'm aware of is that for some of us, play's not easy. It sounds like it should be easy. doesn't it? Play should be easy, but for some of us, play's not easy. For some of us, out of work, rest and play, we've got one of the three that we find easier than the other two. So just being vulnerable, out of work, rest and play, for me, the one I find easiest to engage with is work. I love work. Absolutely love it. I'm so pleased that work existed before the fall, that it's actually part of the created order. I'm so pleased it's part of the original design. We're meant to work. I mean, you see that when people retire and stop working, often they fall to pieces because it's like, oh, what do I do? You know, work's really important. But definitely work for me, great. If I had to go in my order, I'd be sort of work, I find the easiest. Rest, next easiest. Play I find hard. Which is ironic, isn't it? Because everyone thinks play should be really easy. You know, I sometimes see people and they're just playing all the time. I mean, I despise them. What are you doing? Why are you playing so much? You're playing all the time. What are you doing? You know, but part of me, actually, I'm a little bit like, I'd love more of that. So just look, I've been vulnerable. I'd just love to know, quick straw poll. If you were like the one my superpower, I am brilliant at resting. I rest all the time. I'm an expert rester. In fact, I'm resting right now. You know, that might be you. So I'm just interested, who's like me and you're like, I can just do work, man. Who are the workers around here? Okay. Right. Okay. Who are the kind of, I'm the sleep expert. I'm the rest expert. I love a few. They're brilliant. We need you. Ravi, we need you. Who are the play people? I'm great at play. I can just play. I'm brilliant at play. Yeah, I just love playing. That's great. Okay, great. And the rest of you don't know what you are, but that's all right. That's great. Okay, different question. Given we're talking about play. Where's your play tank? Imagine you had a play tank or a play bucket. You know, how full is it right now? So, it might be full because you've just done a weekend full of it. You might have done the karaoke. Wasn't the quiz night good? Come around, was the quiz night? I wonder if that's the best quiz I've ever done. It was amazing. Cheese, chocolate, amazing. So, let's not just say the last 24 hours, but just in general, you turn to the person next to you and just go, these are your choices, high, medium, low. High is, I feel really topped up on my play. I feel really like, yes, I feel like I've been refreshed and recreated. Medium's like, yeah, right. Low's like, play? When did I last play? I can't remember the last time I played. Just with the person next to you. So high, medium, low. That's your question. High, medium, low. Isn't it cool that as part of our Christian faith, we're doing a whole section on play? Isn't that cool that as part of the Jesus we follow, it's like, how can we play more? How can we do that? Isn't that brilliant? That, what did you do on your church weekend away? Was it really, really serious and intense and all that? No. We were thinking about how we play more. Isn't that cool? I think that's just wonderful. I feel like there's some people here this morning, like I say, maybe not many, maybe just one, where there's something about play that's quite painful. And like I say, it's kind of almost, you've not really thought about it, but you're like, yeah, actually, it's weirdly painful. And I think there's 3 reasons why play can be painful. The first is that, like I say, the people who are expert at this are children. They're just amazing at it. They just do it. You don't have to kind of run a seminar on how to play. They just do it. It's us lot who need the teaching. They're just getting on with it. We're the ones who need a bit of instruction. But that's where the problem was. Because when you were little, play in some way was taken from you prematurely. It may be that you had to care for a grown-up. You were a carer. You had to grow up very quickly. It may be that the kind of home structure you were in meant you couldn't just play. You had so many other responsibilities in life at the age of 6 that play was not, it was a nice thing to do, but, quite frankly, you've got to look after your sisters or your brothers or whatever. I remember my older brother, He's very open about this, but he went to boarding school at the age of 9 and he took his action men with him. That didn't last long. At the age of 9, he was told once he got there, Gibbs, what are you doing? Why you got action men? Are you a kid? He went from 9 to 18 and overnight. The little boy, gone. So for some of us, play has been taken from us at a young age. For some of us, it's not so much that, it's just we are so responsible, We are very responsible people. We're very responsible. We are, there's a lot to do. There's just a lot to do, isn't there? There's a lot to do. You wake up with your to-do list, you wake up, I might have time just about for that quiet time that David was talking about, but quite frankly, I already know my to-do list for today, and it's pretty big. So I'm sacrificing quite a lot already, Jesus, for this time with you. You want me to incorporate play? Are you serious? Look, life is serious. It's busy. We've got important jobs. There's lots to do. I'll tell you what, once I've got through my to-do list, that's when I'll play, right? Once I've got stuff done, that's when I'll play. So I totally love what you're saying, Marcus. I get it, but I need to get through the season I'm in. I'm in a season right now. And once I've got through the season, you're right. It's been going on for a few years, this season. But once I'm through the season, and like Martha in the story of Mary and Martha, we're just busy. We're occupied with tasks. They're not wrong in and of themselves, but actually, they never really end. Or maybe actually for some of us, the idea of engaging with play and giving space to it, is to do with control. It's like actually, when I'm working and even when I'm resting, I'm kind of a bit in control. That game, it's a little bit out of control, isn't it? It's a little bit, am I going to get heads? Am I going to get tails? There's a little bit of jeopardy in it, There's a little bit of jeopardy when you do a bit of play, It might not quite work out. It's a little bit unscripted. It's a little bit, who knows what's going to happen when I go to the pool party? Will someone dunk me? It's all about control. The best way of just staying in control is don't do play, because it involves there's a little bit of risk. And actually it kind of makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable, and we just want to feel in control. And so, like I say, I feel like there's at least someone here, and maybe all of us, I don't know, who I'd love us in a bit to pray into that, because I just feel God wants to heal that place of play where we can be set free from where play was taken from us, where we just feel like too busy, or where we feel like we're being out of control. So I want to talk about 2 types of play to get practical. The first is what I call pseudo play, and the second is what I call spirit-filled play. And pseudo play is when we think we're playing, but in reality we're just numbing out. We're just disconnecting from reality. So it's quoted a lot, but sorry, just bear with me. I've just got to scroll. That's all right. Yeah. So it's just sort of numbing out. I've got text. Just what's that? And just Instagram. It's good. Sorry, where was I? Yeah, it's just sort of, and we numb out in different ways. Classic things: food, chocolate, alcohol, all the rest of it. And the thing about pseudo play is in the moment it feels quite good, but it disconnects us from ourselves, and it doesn't actually truly refresh us. It kind of feels good in the moment. The third pint, you're like, yes, brilliant. Next morning you're like, oh gosh, it's kind of good in the moment, but it doesn't really refresh us. It doesn't bring us to life truly. It's kind of a pseudo play. And then the other, spirit-filled play, it's the kind that brings joy, it brings creativity, it brings connection, it makes us feel alive, present, refreshed. And for me, and Bex will laugh at this, when I play touch rugby, I'm alive. I just feel alive, I mean, what's particularly good is no one else feels alive because I smash into them, even though it's meant to be touch rugby. But I feel alive, and that's what counts. And there's no hangover. Maybe that's the way of, and I mean hangover in the broadest sense. The difference between pseudo play and spirit-filled play is that sense of hangover, if that makes sense. And if anything, there's not a hangover. I feel a buzz. I feel great. Oliver Burkeman, who isn't a Christian yet, he's a writer, and I've written him various emails because I think he doesn't realize it yet, but he's coming close to the Lord. He talks about atelic activities. These are activities that don't have a teleos. And for all you Greek people, a teleos means a purpose, a direction. They don't have an end goal. And he quotes Rod Stewart, the singer. He says, Rod Stewart's never talked about it, but Rod Stewart, on the top floor of his house, has got one of the biggest play train sets in the UK. And he was interviewed and they said, do you want to, put it in like the Guinness Book of Records for this and that? He said, no, it's just so I can go upstairs and play with my train set. It's not to win anything. No, it's just, I like playing with train set. It's not to be the best at train sets. It's just to play with my train set. And I just want to, I'm not saying a competitive angle isn't always bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's always bad. I'm just saying be careful. A friend of mine is a pastor in America. And he said, Marcus, I finally found the thing that I do for play. I go hiking. And I found that when I go hiking, I am alive. I am alive. Finally, I've found it. And I've got to tell you, a lot of pastors find this play thing really difficult, really difficult. He says, I found it. It's brilliant. And I now go hiking. It feeds my soul. It was spirit-filled play. And then I got an email. I got an email from him a month ago saying, Dear European pastors, apparently I'm a European pastor, I've decided to set up a ministry for pastors that we will go hiking. I will do the American one where we go hiking, and I'll do the European one. And on our hikes, we can minister to one another. We can encourage one another as pastors in the Lord, and we can hike. I emailed him. I said, what are you doing? I said, the Lord gave you a gift of a spirit-filled play. And what you've done, you have turned that into your next ministry. You've turned it into work. You've turned it into performance. You need to really be careful that you don't take your spirit-filled play and twist it. Anyway, I'm going on this European hike and I can't wait. So, so we're going to get practical and we're going to have a bit of time to reflect. Listen, I want to give you some top tips. How can you rediscover spirit-filled play? And I just want to tell you how I've done it. And a bit like David shared yesterday, I don't have a lot of top tips, but I've only got one. What I found is I needed to close my eyes and invite the Spirit to show me what for Marcus would be spirit-filled play. And it's really weird because even though I said that about touch rugby, everyone will go, oh, surely it's rugby for you, isn't it? Big lad, rugby, that's your thing, isn't it? Bet that's your thing. Bet you really relax when you watch the rugby and it's all right. But before the Lord, I was reminded of a few things over the last few years, some of which I've been able to do and some of which I haven't been able to do. And what I've realized is I love singing in a choir. I suddenly realized that there's something that happens when I sing in a choir that is spirit-filled play. It's like I'm transported. And you go, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I mean, that's why occasionally in church on Sunday, no one knows it, but I pick up this mic and start singing in the background when everyone's else singing, And then the other thing, again, and they're weird things that you don't realize. It's like going fishing. Tim takes me fishing, and I go with Tim, and Tim basically does everything. He sets up the rod, he sets up the reel, he practically catches the fish for me. But there's something, I stand there and I stare, and I'll be honest, it doesn't matter if we don't catch anything. For some reason, I'm just standing there. But I'm kind of there. It's really hard to explain. I'm just there. And then you go home and it's been the best day ever. It's like brilliant. Simple things. I realized that I love reading a good book. Not on a Kindle, not on my phone, just reading a good book. I've got a really good book that I'm reading at the moment in my bag. And you know that feeling where you want everyone else to go away so you can carry on reading? Have you ever had that feeling? It's like, could you disappear? I'm mid-chapter, you know. And that's really cool. And then the other one that some of the staff team know about me, I love fiddling with technology and gadgets. So one Saturday I went up to church to fix the live stream camera, and Cara's like, today is not a work day. You are not meant to be going to church to work on the cameras to make sure they give a good image on the live stream tomorrow. I looked at her and went, it's not work. It's not work. It's great. There's no one there. And I get to fiddle with HDMI cables. And I get to change the gamma rate on the camera and the shutter speed. She's like, off you go. Off you go. So what I'd like you to do for a moment, just where we are, is actually, we're going to have the 5 minutes, a similar 5 minutes to the sort of 5 minutes yesterday, because the Spirit of God's with us. We're going to go quiet, and I just want you to sort of ask the Lord, say, Lord, what for me is spirit-filled play? And weirdly, it may not be what others would think it is, or it may not be actually what you think it is. So allow the Lord to show you. So where we are, just sit comfortably, maybe close your eyes, maybe even open your hands just on your lap as a way of saying I'm open to you. And I'm going to pray a prayer. Heavenly Father, come by your Spirit and remind us of the fearful and wonderful way that you've made each one of us in our uniqueness. That each one of us is a unique, precious fingerprint. And reveal to us what spirit-filled play is for each one of us. The kind of play that refreshes us, that brings life to our inner beings, the kind of play that lifts us up, that doesn't have a hangover attached to it. Speak life and truth into our inner selves now, in Jesus' name.